Hello, we're answering questions on sexual health. I'm joined by Dr. Catherine Hood. Hello.
Hello.
Catherine, we've got a question here from a woman who says she's trying to conceive, but how can I tell when I'm ovulating?
Okay. I think the first thing to say is that, sometimes it's not as easy to conceive as many people think. Like, if you watch films and television, you probably think that one roll in the hay is enough to get you pregnant. Well, that's not the case. It can take normal couples up to a year to actually achieve pregnancy. So I think that the first thing to say is don't panic. Obviously, it's important to know when you're ovulating, and that's when the egg is released from your ovaries. And around that time, sort of 48, 72 hours around that time, that's when you're most fertile or most likely to get pregnant. Now, a simple guide is you tend to ovulate 14 days before your period is due.
Okay. And that's if you're a regular period person.
Exactly. Now, this means if you have a regular 4-week cycle, it falls in the middle, so at about day 14, if you count day 1 as being the first day of your period. Now, if you have a 5-week cycle, then it's day 21, because again, it's 2 weeks before, so it's not quite in the middle. And I think that's where a lot of women
So it's always
get
14
mistaken.
days before, not 14 days after. That's
exactly, yeah. 14 days before your next period is due. Now, that all sounds terribly simple, but a lot of women can't predict it that closely because they have slightly irregular periods that, vary from month to month.
So you must write it down, mustn't you? Get hold of a diary, write down when your period was, and then you can kind of count
And you can
forward.
kind of work it out. But it, if you do have an irregular cycle, that can be quite difficult. And to be honest, the general advice is have sex every 2 to 3 days throughout your cycle. That way, you're not going to miss when you're most fertile.
But we both know, don't we, that when you're trying to conceive, you can become obsessed about when am I ovulating, and you can buy these kits, a bit like pregnancy tests. Talk us through how those work, because they're quite easy.
These basically detect a hormone in the urine, which is one of the hormones that triggers ovulation. So when that hormone rises, you know you're going to ovulate in the next 48 hours. So you get a little line that says this is the time to have sex.
And it's a stick that you just go to the loo, and you put it under your urine stream, and it tells you.
Yeah, and so you just pee on it. Now, for a lot of women, that's great. A lot of people love using it. But I think the downside sometimes is that it's very stressful trying to get pregnant. And sometimes overlooking and doing too many things actually adds to the stress, because then you pressurise your partner into having sex now, and it can cause a little bit of friction. So great for some women. For other women, just sex every 2 to 3 days throughout your cycle, and you won't miss the time.
That is definitely the best advice. Doing it, of course, harder. Thank you, Catherine. Well, if you have a similar problem, we hope we might have given you some help. But remember, it's always best to go and see your own doctor for medical advice. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with more health questions and answers.